Hi everyone, hope you're all safe and well still, healthy and happy as per usual. Here we go with the recipe videos that I promised for barbecue sauce, chocolate delice with salt caramel, frozen yogurt with strawberries, and the potato and chorizo pressed terrine. And please don't forget, if you're enjoying these videos, to subscribe, like, comment and share with all your friends. Far and wide would be great. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so let's get cracking straight away with the first one. Let's do the frozen yogurt. So for the frozen yogurt, the ingredients you need are 500 grams of natural yogurt, 150 grams of buttermilk, 160 grams of caster sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 250 grams of fresh strawberries. Two of the recipes that we're doing at the moment asks for buttermilk. Now, buttermilk is extremely hard to come by, especially at the moment, so I'm going to show you how to do something that is a good substitute. The other things, just so you are aware, but again, if you're vegan as opposed to vegetarian, there is the option of trading this, which is just regular milk, out for soy milk. And all it is for about 250 ml of milk, you need about 30 ml of lemon or lime juice. Teaspoon's about 5 ml, so 6 teaspoons. Then all you do is just stir it until you get a thickened consistency. Okay, so frozen yogurt, real simple. Once you've made it once, you probably want to make it time and time again. This one I was going to do just plain, so you could then roll with it after that, but I've decided I'm actually going to do a strawberry one. So in here I have got already 150 grams of the buttermilk substitute that we made in the previous video, and then to that I'm going to add 500 grams or mils of natural yogurt. You can use Greek yogurt, and again for vegans you can use the coconut yogurt that's out there. It'd be perfect. In it goes. Right, to that we need to add vanilla. Now vanilla is quite expensive, so if you don't want to buy it, don't worry, but vanilla does obviously give it a nice finish. If you use the vanilla bean paste, a teaspoon is roughly equivalent to a pod. I get that in there. And here I have just halved strawberries, broken down a little bit, and I've got 160 grams of caster sugar in with it. And as you can see, or maybe see towards the bottom, you've got all the juice collected with the sugar. Just get all of that in. Lid on. I'm going to start it on a medium. Now what you're looking for is a light and fluffy consistency. Should take a few minutes. Just keep checking it to make sure that you get a real nice mix. And that's it. If you've got an ice cream machine, which you can buy small ones quite cheap, you put it in there and let it all churn through. However, I'm doing the non-machine version. So this will now go into the freezer as it is. 20 minutes, and then I will gently, with a spoon, move it around, bring the outside edge in, because the outside edge will start to freeze, but the inside will still be soft. And then do the same every half an hour for 2 hours. So you'll find that 2 hours and 20 minutes later, you should have quite a soft serve, frozen yogurt. And if you want it a bit firmer, then leave it for a couple more hours. If you leave it overnight for a couple of days in your freezer, if it lasts that long, then you would need to take it out for maybe 30 minutes beforehand just to kind of soften down a little bit. Okay, and that is it, frozen yogurt. Okay, so for the barbecue sauce, the ingredients you need will be 1 tin of chopped tomatoes, 100 gram of tomato puree, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, a teaspoon of ginger puree, a tablespoon of soft dark sugar, 2 tablespoons of honey, 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, 1 tablespoon of black treacle, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon powder, 1 tablespoon of ground coriander, 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of hickory smoked powder, 1 apple, 75 millilitres of white wine vinegar, 150 millilitres of apple juice, 1 chilli, 2 garlic. Right, so if you've got all those ingredients, let's crack on. Time for barbecue sauce. Okay everyone, recipe number 2, straight back into it. This is the one I think probably was the one that people wanted the most. So it's quite a complicated recipe in so much as how much goes into it. So it's quite a costly thing. You could say, is it worth it compared to just buying a barbecue sauce? However, I think when you have nailed a barbecue sauce that you are happy with and you're proud of, I don't think any other one can compare. So this is it. I'm going to do it as fast as I can for you. Right, so into a large saucepan, chopped tomatoes, 200 gram tube of tomato puree, we need 100, 75 ml or 3 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. I wanted syrup, ginger syrup, but couldn't find any, so we're going to go with just regular puree ginger. So we're going to get about a teaspoon in there. Soft dark brown sugar, 1 tablespoon, quite high one. 2 spoons of honey, 1, 2, 1 spoon of maple syrup, 1 spoon of black treacle, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 150 ml of apple juice, 1 fresh apple, just cut down, pips can stay in, then on to the actual spicing, and here I've got 1 tablespoon of ground coriander, 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, a tablespoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of onion powder, and I've also got some smoked powder, which is hickory smoked powder, which you can get online. It's reasonably cheap and well worth it. To a nice high heat, stir it all together. And then final bit, a handful of capers. And then lid on top because it will spit and bubble, and let it cook down for about 20 minutes. Okay, so this has now had its 20 minutes and it's all cooked down really nicely. Last thing I'm going to put in is a shot of spiced rum. The reason why I don't put it in before is because I don't want to lose the actual flavour in the cooking. I want it to be quite raw. Okay, so stir that through. The smell is amazing. So on to the final part. Got the blender here, and I've got a chopped up fresh chilli and 2 cloves of garlic chopped up in here ready to go. Again, this is separate because I want that kind of raw flavour to come through. Didn't want cooked out garlic, didn't want cooked out chilli. all in. Lid on. Okay, so you've got your sauce here, and the main thing that you've got to realise at the end of it is you're looking for a nice, smooth sauce altogether. A blender like this should bring it right down that you wouldn't need to strain it. However, if you've got something like a stick blender or a food processor where it doesn't bring it together as much, recommend putting it through a sieve, just to get rid of all the impurities. And that should be it. So when you blend things, you do want to blend it for quite a while. It's like a patience game. If you stop it too soon, it will be lumpy, it won't be brought together as nicely, it won't be emulsified for the final stage. With this, what we should now have, oh my word, is beautiful, glossy barbecue sauce. You must try this one, and let me know what you think. I think it's awesome. You can add extra bits to it. You can blend in some fresh coriander. There's no salt in this one because you don't need it. You've got plenty of flavour going on. Salt isn't necessary for everything. And like I said, you can use this sauce for almost anything you like. You can use it as an accompaniment like you would do a tomato ketchup. You can brush chicken with it. That's in the oven roasting for the last half an hour. You can brush ribs and put it on the barbecue. It's got a great amount of uses. And it should keep in your fridge for about 5 days. So enjoy, and on to the next recipe. Okay, chocolate lovers, here we go. This is the Delice with salted caramel. 140 mils of milk, 325 mils of double cream, 2 whole eggs, 340 grams of milk or dark chocolate, 1 tin of the caramel and the condensed milk, 5 to 8 grams of sea salt. And for your leftover caramel in plating, you want either a shot of rum, whiskey or brandy, optional. Hello everyone, right, an exciting one for you all, or the one that you guys are quite excited about, chocolate Delice. So already in my pan, getting hot, I've got the milk and the cream, which is going to be coming up to a boil. As soon as it starts to come up to the boil, I turn it off at that point. Over here, I've got 2 eggs, which I've already whisked. And in this one here, I've got chocolate ready to go. So I've got a milk chocolate. You can quite easily go with dark chocolate. Just felt that maybe everybody would prefer the milk chocolate. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully I'll zoom in close now for you. But the bubbles are starting to come around the side quite nicely. So I want them to get a bit angrier. And as you can see, the kind of skin as such is starting to kind of rise up and come in together. The moment it all kind of comes into the center, that's when we turn it off and take it off the heat. And then we'll put it straight into the eggs whilst whisking a little bit at a time, slow and steady. So we're almost there. Okay, so the milk and cream is just about to come up. It's all going to start suddenly rush up. So at this stage, turn it straight off, take it straight from the heat. So when you're adding it to your eggs, you put in a little bit at a time. Okay, don't rush it in. If you do that, you cook your eggs, you curdle it, you end up with scrambled cream and egg. So a little bit in to start with. What you're doing is you're kind of helping the eggs come up to temperature. Very similar to making a custard. Now it's a constant stream, and I've got the last third going in, continually whisking. While it's still nice and hot, my broken chocolate, and I pour it in all over the chocolate. And then start gradually stirring that through. If you want to use a spatula at this point, you're more than welcome to. Okay, so this is now all nicely mixed together. Chocolate is nice and glossy. So the key thing to look out for is make sure you haven't got any flecks of chocolate in there. If you have, then it's going to be quite grainy. So you just need to keep working until it's all gone. Pour it into a jug. There's different ways you can approach this now. You can put it into a tin with cling film, double wrapped of cling film, so it's easy to turn out and then cut at some later point, or you can do it individually, which is what I'm doing. And I'm going to use some old rubber cake molds because this is all I got. And you're literally going to be pouring it 2/3 of the way. No more. Now obviously this will make quite a good amount. So probably make a good 16 of these. I'm going to put these in the freezer now, and then we'll come back and we'll do the next stage. Okay, so these delices have been in the freezer for about half an hour, 40 minutes, and they're just setting. And all we're doing, pushing into the middle, and adding our caramel. It's a really good squeeze. And then that can go back into the freezer. Okay, so everything is set. The delice is frozen, set perfectly. Onto the plating. I put some of the caramel here in the middle of the plate. You might have seen these on social media. These are the little chocolate crispy discs that I did using speculoos biscuits, chocolate rice puffs, and dark chocolate. I'm just going to put one of those in the middle. These are fairly easy to get out. Obviously, like we were saying, if you are using a tinned one, just cut it down with a hot knife and it should come through together. I've got some chocolate brownie here as well. A few little raspberries. Some more of the biscuit. And the crispy rice. It's always good to have this out for about 10 minutes, quarter of an hour before you serve it up. So let it sit there for about 10 minutes just to start softening down again. And it's like a real nice, creamy, rich dessert. Okay, so chocolate delice, done. Enjoy. So guys, one of the ones that you all really wanted to have a look at and seem to be getting quite excited about is the potato and chorizo pressed terrine. Very straightforward, very few ingredients, very easy to do. For the vegans, the alternatives would be, instead of using butter, to use a vegan spread. And the idea for the chorizo alternative would be to get some celeriac shaved and rubbed with smoked paprika and some onion or garlic powder. So here we go with the recipe for you all. What you will need is 1.2 kilograms of potatoes. I use Maris Pipers, find them to be the best. 1.5 packs of pre-sliced chorizo, 1 block of slightly salted butter, 2 cloves of garlic. Okay, so without further ado, let's crack on with the potato and chorizo terrine. Okay, step 1 for bringing together our potato and chorizo terrine. We need some paper, need a decent baking tin, potatoes, which we're midway through now, melted butter, and of course chorizo. So with the paper, first things first, we need to do some lining. So you rip off enough paper to be bigger than your tin, fold it in half, then half again, and then when you got your 4 loose corners together, pair of scissors from that corner to just before halfway. So you look a bit like that. And we're going to take some of the pre-melted butter. Let's quickly grease the tin. Order at the sides as well. And then we just place our paper in, as you can see, nicely lined. So for the potatoes, normally in a restaurant environment, we tend to slice this on a mandolin, which is a very sharp, very fine blade, which I don't have, and I'm assuming a lot of people at home wouldn't have. So you can either cut these by hand, but you have to do them really thin, or if you've got a speed peeler or a potato peeler like this, just literally peel away to make fanciful crisps like that. So doing it this way, you always have some potato left over. So what you can do with that potato is just rough chop it down so they're around about the same sort of size pieces. Boil them up, chill them, put them in your fridge, and then tomorrow for brunch, bubble and squeak, potato cakes, anything similar to that really. So this really is quite simple, straightforward. The layering up is very straightforward, not very technical at all. Already had messages from people wanting to know how they can make it vegan or vegetarian. So obviously you don't have to have the chorizo. The chorizo is in here just to kind of give the dish a bit more oomph. But you can quite easily trade that out for something like celeriac, doing the same way you do potato. Just slice it down nice and thin with a potato peeler. And with the celeriac, you can always just dust it with paprika and a little bit of garlic salt. So you still get that kind of same sort of flavour coming through. So, on to the constructing. So we've got our tin there. Push it a little bit further forward, so there we go. So, you want to take your potato. I'll start this end actually so you can see it. And you are literally just slightly overlapping potato at a time. Now you can put it all in, add in your butter and mix it, but I think this way you get a nicer finish. Make sure you get all to the edges and then start your next row. And then your next row. The idea is that we want the layers to be nice and even, so you end up with a really nice potato dish at the end. Okay, so that's layer one. In this butter, I did put some garlic as well, just let it melt down gently on the stove. Took it off before it completely melted because it will still carry on anyway. Let the garlic sit in there, infuse. You don't need to have garlic in there if you don't want. And now we're getting a nice liberal amount of butter, and we're making sure brushing the potato with a good amount. That's row 1, and then we go into the potato for row 2. Exactly the same again. And another lot of butter. Should also say at this stage, maybe, could have said it earlier, maybe, salted butter is what I'm using for this, so therefore with the salt that's already in the butter and the flavour that you get from the chorizo, you don't need any more salt after that. Okay, so second row of potatoes are on and buttered. At this stage, fresh herbs would be great, but I think for this dish I like using the dried herbs, so something like dried chives or just like a mixed herb will be absolutely fine. So nice amount on there, then onto the chorizo. So going in the same direction as your potato, slight overlap again. Get your chorizo down. Again, brush of butter. The butter's kind of like the glue for what we need to do at the next stage after cooking, which will become more apparent when we get to that stage. And then back to potato again. So again, 2 layers of potato, brushed with oil in between, your herbs, followed by your chorizo. And we keep doing this until we've done about 5 or 6 layers. Okay. By the magic of film editing, here's the end bit. So there we go, that's the last of it. Just put the last of the butter all over, making sure it's really kind of coming through and absorbing all the way down to the bottom. So that's ready to go in the oven, but the last little bit is you need another piece of paper. Sat on top, pressed down as hard as you can, and then that can go in the oven for approximately 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, so I've just pulled this out of the oven, 45 minutes. So now I'm going to check it. Best thing to use is a small knife, cut all the way through, different places, starting in the middle, working your way out. Now all you're looking for is for the fact that there's no bite, there's no kind of tension when you're putting your knife in. The knife just goes right down to the bottom and comes straight back up again without any movement. So as you can see, not an awful lot of colour on it yet, but looking nice and delicious. Now obviously the cooking and the steam and everything else is puffed up and it's all raised up. So what you need to do then is get a cloth, press it down as firm as you can, and then you need to weigh this down with tins, so like tins of beans or whatever. Quite often it's a good idea to put a piece of card, cut out a piece of card that fits this exactly, and then put your heavyweights on top. You want it to be nice and even. When this has cooled down enough to go into your fridge, put it in your fridge for a couple hours.
Look at that, guys. Pressed, beautiful. Okay, you can probably tell that this is not the audio for this video. Honestly, I forgot to record it. So, hot pan, oil and butter. Make sure it's getting nice and hot. Not too smoky, don't want to set things on fire, if you know what I mean. And then you place your cut terrine face down in your pan. Face down is important, that's the first area you are going to cook. And then you leave it there. You don't keep flipping it around because you don't want to disturb the oil, the butter. But you are going to be cooking every single side. So let's have a little look. Here we go. About 3 minutes later, golden. Golden. And again, yeah, bang on. Yep. And that's what you want. So the other side, the underside, isn't going to take as long because it's been browned more. So maybe 1.5 minutes. Beautiful. And the other one? Oh, yes. Turn it down a little bit. Don't let your butter burn, that's the key thing. So we've done one side, as you can see. It's probably done both sides. And now we're going to be propping this up to do the end sides. The key thing is that you want to get every single area browned. Now I'm using my hands because I'm part chef, part hero. However, you might want to use tongs for this bit. The key thing is to make sure when you do slice your portions that you slice them nice and straight. Otherwise you have an issue with them standing up on all sides of the pan. I'm going to carry on letting them cook out a little bit. Get those top edges done. Turn it off if it's getting too hot too soon. And then when done, flip them off. And there we go. Look at that. That's been in the oven for an extra 8 minutes. So the insides are nice and hot. And you can see these look crispy and delectable. I, however, look non-crispy and non-delectable. But enjoy.